the job posting really needs to be like your personality. It definitely needs to stand out to get the right people to respond to it.
I love bookkeeping.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for listening to the I Love Bookkeeping podcast. My name is Hannah Robinson.
And I'm Melissa Honan.
And thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a new episode out every Tuesday and Thursday. Today, we're going to be continuing our How to Hire series, and we are going to talk about job postings. Melissa, I see you posting job postings on Facebook not regularly, semi-regularly, I feel like.
Yeah.
You have some experience with this.
I do. And I'm supposed to post them more often based on our internal company metrics, and I don't.
There's so much to cover with job postings, because I think generally people who are just starting out and looking to hire, the job posting questions they have are where to look, what to ask for, how to even word this, how to even start. So I guess the first question is, bookkeeping business owners, where are the best places to look to hire or to post a job posting? Just not even that deep, just where to post a job posting.
So I highly recommend the bookkeepers.com community. There's, I think there's like a BBL subcontracting group. I try to not post in Circle as often because I don't want that to just be like a recruiting page, right? Like I love the collaboration, and like I don't want Ben to kick me out of Circle, so I don't just recruit out of that. But there's tons of like offshoot groups. There's like a BBL construction group that I reach out to, and then there's a BBL stay-at-home mom group. Love that group as well. So just the different groups, like finding those students that are like-minded, that are in the same circle as you, and reaching out to them there. And then there are, of course, other forums that you can use. You can also use things like Indeed and Monster and those things. I personally don't. I like to stay in the bookkeepers.com community.
Yeah. So what has been your, I guess, success rate with posting in the bookkeepers.com community?
100%.
So 100% of the people you've hired have been from bookkeepers?
Yes.
Wow.
100%.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And so I think too, I think I lucked out because I am a little bit, I think more, I don't know, like seen in a sense, like, because of our success. I know that, other people have, not gotten as much of a response, but I think that, there's a couple of things. Like, I think we talked about this in the job description. I think the job description needs to be like, just straightforward to the point, but the job posting, I think that's when you should show your personality. And you should really get creative and try to stand out. So I think that's a big thing, is that when I make my job postings, I try to make them funny, and stand out. Like for a while I was doing like Bernie Sanders memes. And like I got a lot of applicants from those ones. And so I think that's part of it. People do know my name a little bit more just because of, the podcast and being on stage at BKX and things like that. But also, I think that we have our process down as well. So I have seen like quite a few other students have a lot of success with this. Some haven't. And I think that it's finding the right, system for you. But a big part of it, I think, is that the job posting really needs to be like your personality. It definitely needs to stand out to get the right people to respond to it.
And what are some ways, obviously you use Bernie Sanders memes. What are some other ways that people can stand out in job postings? Because I want to hear your answer, and then I have another answer.
I think like a good example, like I'm trying to think of the ones that like I've seen people post recently, like Tyler Otto had posted one recently, and he had thrown in like some kind of, things that are, individual to like what he and his team enjoy, like different movie things and things like that, and the type of person that he's looking for. And it was just very like, having talking to Tyler, it was like, oh, like this is his personality in a job posting. So I think for me, it's just like when you read it, you want to keep reading it. Does that make sense? Like it's not very specific, but it needs to be that like when you're reading it, you're like, what are they going to say next? Like, man, I want to work for this guy, even though like I'm completely unemployable.
Well, it's funny because I've seen things like that are great. They're great ways to show your personality. Especially show off your niche if you have one. But I've also seen them where they've had like a little Easter egg hidden in it. Like if you like hidden in like close to the bottom.
Yeah, Jackie does that. Jackie just posted.
It's like a sentence is like, okay, email me with the answer to this trivia question or email me your favorite movie or make the subject line of your email like your favorite color or something like that. I think that's a fun, creative way to know if people are actually reading your job posting. Just like I think it's fun.
Well, that's Ben's recommendation, isn't it? I could have sworn that was from one of the mastermind groups, and that was Ben and Kelly. Because I remember Kelly going over it. I could have sworn maybe I'm making this up, but I'm pretty sure that's a bookkeepers.com thing and that's why a lot of us use that. And I know for instance, Jackie Anthony from All Sense, she had just posted, she's looking for a bookkeeping specialist and she does that in all of hers as well. And I have done that. It is a great way to filter out people that don't read for sure. That's a great way.
That was such a great way to put that.
Sorry, guys. Read the whole post.
Read, can't read.
You can't read. You can't comprehend. Because I think the big thing here, guys, is that like, especially you need a bookkeeping specialist that's detail oriented, right? Nobody wants the bookkeeper that doesn't pay close attention to details. And that Easter egg is the perfect way to tell if someone's detail oriented or not. And I think also that is a great way to show personality is what they're asking for specifically as well. Like, the movie or the color or the whatever it is. And I've done a few of those, but I don't have that issue as much anymore when I'm hiring because I'm not hiring typically bookkeeping specialist right out the gate. So I don't need to do like detail oriented testing. I'm primarily looking for account managers. And so for that, I usually ask for a Loom video. And that'll filter everybody out because if you can't do a Loom video, then you can't be an account manager. So, and that's the thing. The thing is, because I was doing like things like memes and things for a while. And I still do kind of quirky, like if I have a song in my head, I'll just like change the lyrics to something bookkeeping related and just be kind of stupid about it. But I have started creating videos where I am going over what the job is, what the company is like, what our clients are like, what the team is like, what the position is like, and just explaining it. Ever since I started including videos where I talk about the job, my application rate has skyrocketed. I get twice as many applicants now. So I think it's only fair that, especially if I'm asking them to essentially introduce themselves via video, that I introduce me and my company via video. So that is part of my process now.
Today's show is brought to you by Keeper, the one app to run your bookkeeping business. Keeper helps you get faster client responses with your own custom branded QuickBooks integrated client portal. Finally, you can say goodbye to those pesky spreadsheets full of uncategorized transactions. Keeper also helps you catch those embarrassing coding errors before your clients do. And with Keeper, you can generate beautiful custom reports that your clients will absolutely love to read. To find out more, go to keeper.app. That's keeper.app. Mention I Love Bookkeeping to get 20% off your first 3 months. Again, go to keeper.app to find out more. Thank you for listening.
So I guess when you do a job posting, what are some ways to be really transparent about what you're looking for without giving away too much? Or do you just like don't care about not giving away
Give
too
it
much?
away. Just give it away. That needs to be in your job description, and your job description needs to be either like attached to the posting or as part of the application that you're posting. Like, because you don't want this isn't like don't gatekeep, because then you're going to get applicants that aren't applying for the right position. I think the big thing for the job posting itself is, again, like weaving in your personality. So they want to keep reading and they want to find out what the job description is. And they're reading it and they're like, oh yeah, like I totally get what this person's saying. I totally understand. Like, which one was I did one where it was like, if you love like tax preparation and you know it, clap your hands. And I was just like going through that. And I just wanted, it was one of those things where it's like, once you started reading it, you couldn't help but finish it because like, if you didn't finish the song in your head, it would drive you crazy. And I actually got quite a few applicants out of that one. But at the end of the day, it had the job description attached. It had all the information in the explainer video and it had it in the application itself. So as much as the actual like posting didn't have a lot of content, it was just like kind of catchy. The information was attainable through the application.
Interesting. So if somebody, let's say first time looking to hire and you're ready to do a job posting and they're not in the bookkeepers.com community, where would you suggest they should be? But where do you suggest they look to hire or seek out a bookkeeper or just even post a job posting?
Ugh. Okay. Well, so I feel like Indeed and those things are like the worst because people. So any forum where people can do the quick apply. Because that's what ends up happening is that like people will just go and like apply to 100 jobs in a day and they're not even qualified. It's just the whole thing is annoying. LinkedIn, I would say if you're not in the bookkeepers.com community specifically, I still think networking in general is going to be the best way to find hires. And so if you're in a professional community in any way, reaching out to people and saying, I still do this where I reach out to former coworkers. I'm like, hey, I'm looking for a salesperson. Do you know anybody that's looking? And I found a few applicants that way. I would say like, on LinkedIn or if you're in other Facebook groups, if you're in other mastermind communities, if you're in BNI, whatever networking you have, or you need to find networking and kind of go through that process. If you have none of that and you have no interest in it, then I would say like Upwork. I'm more keen on Upwork than I am to something like Indeed, because you can just very easily hire people on Upwork. The reviews are like people who have reviewed the projects. It's very transparent. It's very easy. Hire tons of people on Upwork for all sorts of things. And so I would just say, if you're looking for nice and easy, just head on over to Upwork then.
Yeah. That must be tough I'm trying to, because when I asked that question, I was like, where do people look?
Where do people look?
Where are you guys hiding? Because that must be tough. That's tough.
Networking, I swear, because I would have never met this candidate, but I was talking to Ben Day. Actually I hadn't talked to Ben Day in a while, and I meant to reach out to him, and he like messaged me out of the blue and was like, I have a unicorn for you. And I was like, what? And he was like, I met this person and I'm not hiring right now, but you should hire them instead. And then he sent me the information. So again, networking. And I think that's, not only take, but also give. And so, I've had a lot of applicants where they were a great fit. I love them. I would hire them, but I could only hire one. And then I have these other two. So I'm going to reach out to other people and be like, hey, mastermind group, is anybody looking for this position? I have these great candidates. I'd love for somebody else to hire them. And then if they don't, they stay on my bench. And I'll reach back out to them next time. But definitely, sharing is caring when it comes to hiring,
That's
in
cool.
my opinion.
Just another testament to like how great the bookkeepers.com community is. Pat myself on the back.
So true, man. So true.
Do you post pay transparency in your job postings?
1,000,000% yes.
Good.
This is what happened. I think maybe 2 years ago now. I was in a local women's group. It was kind of like a business group, but not really. And then it kind of like evolved into something else. Long story short. Anyway, my business coach is the one that founded this group called Fearless. And I was looking for an account manager at the time, and I posted in Fearless. And I did the thing that we all have done at one point, right? Which was, pay is dependent on experience. and they tore me apart. Oh my God, this is the first time where I got my ass handed to me. I'm not going to lie to you. And basically they explained to me fairly nicely how just not being transparent and just and flexing my pay depending on experience was basically just unethical. And not fair to candidates to have them put in the time to apply and interview with me if they had no idea the pay expectations. And they did it so eloquently that it really did change my mind. And so that is why I'm very clear now I do put a salary range. It's not always an exact amount. There is still a range because there are going to be different factors. Like again, if you're an enrolled agent applying for a position versus if you're not the enrolled agent, I'm going to offer them more money. Because at the end of the day, they are more valuable. Sorry. But having that certification is extremely difficult to obtain. And it is, they have the ability to do more than a non-enrolled agent, right? So there is still a pay range, but I make sure to put that amount, and I highly recommend. I absolutely hate job postings in the bookkeepers.com community that do not have pay. Y'all, and I've told every single person this because lots of my friends do it. Y'all need to put pay to get good quality candidates, but also so that people know that it's worth their time. Because I feel like people are not going to apply, like the high quality candidates that know their worth are not going to apply for a job that does not have pay listed, in my opinion. So I think it's necessary to at least have a pay range.
Well, and I think that kind of reverts back to our last episode about hourly versus flat rate versus salary, and just having that transparency and that consistency there, especially when it comes to your job postings, because that's out there for everyone to see. And I do think it's really important to have pay transparency and consistency when it comes to job postings as well, because ultimately that's what people are going to judge your company on whether or not they want to work for you. Especially, I feel like especially for this day and age, it's just, it's so important to have that transparency when it comes to not only how much are you paying new people, but how much are current people getting paid, because you don't want any discrepancies there.
Yeah. And I will say, so when we go to hire people too, we always do look and see internally, is there anybody that can rise to that occasion where we can give them a pay increase instead? So I think that's the thing is, before you look to hire externally, look to see if that person already works for you. But when it comes to pay transparency, I just feel that it's not fair to somebody to go through the entire process if they need a minimum of $25 an hour to pay their bills. Like that has to be the job. And they're like, oh, I listened to Melissa's and Hannah, and Melissa kept saying $25 an hour. So everyone must pay $25 an hour. And they go through the interview process with you. And you don't give them a pay rate in the first interview, and you move them to the second interview. And then you finally go, okay, we'll get to that, blah, blah, blah. And then you move them to a third interview. And now they're, 5 hours into your interview process, and you offer them $18 an hour. You just wasted your own time and their time. Just be upfront. Just be upfront and say it's $18 an hour so you guys can have $18 an hour candidates.
So I love all your information that you've given on job postings, because you're so experienced and you're so seasoned when it comes to this. If you guys have follow-up questions, or you just have more topics about how to hire that you want to hear about, please shoot us an email at hello@ilovebookkeeping.com. Don't forget to subscribe. We have new episodes out every Tuesday and Thursday. My name is Hannah Robinson.
And I'm Melissa Honan.
And thank you for listening to the I Love Bookkeeping podcast.
I love bookkeeping. Here's a little shout to all my